Okay, today I would like to welcome you to your first official day of e-learning. So today we will be starting our online classes and we'll be starting our third trimester of school. So to start out today, I would like to review our math e-learning expectations. So our daily expectations, what should we be doing in Google Classroom, or what is expected of us as we enter each day of e-learning? So what do I need to do on a daily basis? So on a daily basis, you need to log into your Google Classroom to find your assignments. Read through your daily assignment, which will be found under the assignment heading. Complete your daily question under attendance. Remember, this is how we get your proof that you were in class each day. How we put you into the gradebook as attending class. So make sure you do that by 2 p.m. each day. Work through your daily to-do list. At the bottom of your assignment each day, I will have your daily to-dos. This will be a good guideline for you to write down or to look back at every day to make sure you've completed everything that you need to for math class that day. So navigating your Google Classroom, what is it going to look like starting today? So starting today, I have changed up what your classwork stream is going to look like a little bit. So you'll have kind of last week and before we started e-learnings, assignments are going to be right up here at the top. Then you'll have your assignment section. This is where you're going to find your assignments every day, and I will always label them first with the date so that you know which day to look at first. Then you have your assessments. This is where any quizzes or tests will be found. Then you have your daily attendance. Every day your attendance will be labeled with the date, and you have one question that you need to answer that needs to be answered by 2 p.m. each day. Then you'll have your notes section. So this will be where any note videos are. So you'll usually see an Edpuzzle assignment attached to that. Here is 5th grade's assignment for notes today. So we have our Edpuzzle for measures of central tendency. Then I've also attached the Google slide that I used as my template for note taking that you can download for notes if you would like. Or you can just take your notes in a notebook. Then at the bottom you have our review section. So this is what we worked on last week. We worked for MCA review, and we'll probably get back down into the review section again towards the end of the school year if this e-learning lasts throughout the school year. So that is going to be our math expectations, or what our daily, this is what our Google Classroom under classwork will look like, and where to find your assignments each day. So now navigating Google Classroom, now we have Google Classroom expectations. So these are what I expect you to follow each day. Keep conversations math related. So we've had some students who are writing random stuff under their comments, under assignments, and under other things that I post in the classroom. Those comments need to stop. They need to be math related questions. Now, math related means related to how to work the different components of Google Classroom 2. That doesn't mean you can't ask questions about how to work your documents, or why can't I type in here, or how do I get to this link. Those are math related questions. Complete attendance by 2 p.m. each day. Remember, it'll be found under the attendance heading in your classwork, and it'll be labeled with the day's date. Complete your assignments by the due date. So each assignment that I assign every day has a due date. You need to make sure your assignments are completed and submitted by that due date. So let's get to the next thing, submitting assignments. Now, last week I saw that some people were submitting assignments before they were completed. So you need to make sure your assignment is completely done before you hit that submit button. Where and when to ask questions. So this has also been kind of a struggle that I noticed throughout last week, that everybody wasn't quite exactly sure where and when to ask questions. So there are different places. When you are asking questions in Google Hangout, that is going to be your number one place to ask a question. So asking content questions and how to do something pertaining to those days' assignments. I would like you to ask those questions right in that Google Hangout. That way, everybody can see the answers, whether it's 5A, 5B, 6A, 6B, or advanced math. So everybody gets that same answer to that question. And remember, you can always scroll back through and look what everybody has asked through that day. That's why it's so important to keep that Google Hangout with only content-related questions. You can also ask about Google Meet times if you think that the Google meeting is changing for that day. You can answer each other's questions before office hours or after office hours. That is a great place to interact with your classmates and get help from each other. So even if I'm not always on, because I'll be responding pretty much only during office hours to questions in that Google Hangout. But you guys can answer each other's questions any time of the day. Another good place to ask a question is under the Google Classroom assignment. This is a place to ask questions and if part of the assignment is not working. These are questions that I'm going to answer as soon as I see them. Because if something is not working for you, I want to know right away, because it might be an error on my end that I need to fix right away. So if you're having issues, do not hesitate to post that in either Google Classroom or Google Hangouts, because those are the type of messages I'm going to be looking for right away in the morning. So in case that I made an error when I was putting the assignment in, that I can fix those right away. And I have great thank you to a couple of those kids who did that last week already, and I got assignments fixed before the majority of the class was even on. Ask questions about how to use today's applications. So if you're having issues with Google Slides, Google Forms, Google Docs, Edpuzzle, you can ask those questions either below the assignment or in Google Hangout. You're more likely to get an answer from a classmate if you type it in Google Hangout though, but it is okay to write it under the Google Classroom assignment too. You can answer each other's questions under these Google Classroom assignments as well, before or after office hours. They do not just have to be answered by me. If you know the correct answer, for sure, go ahead and answer your classmates' questions. Email. When and where to ask when to use email. So this is a place to ask questions that only pertain to you individually. So if you have a question about a grade, or if your assignment's submitted, or anything that just relates to you, that is going to be an email related question. So that is when you email me or have your parent email me to ask that type of questions. Another time to use email is during evening office hours from 6 to 7 at night. So if you were unable to get into the Google Meets, or you didn't start your assignment until after the Google Meet session, then you can use office hours to ask me specific questions. Or you can still use those Google Hangouts and get answers from your classmates too. And I will be checking those during my evening office hours some too. If you can't remember a username or password to like IXL, Prodigy, or any other math related usernames or passwords, that is when you email me so I can get that answer just to you specifically. Office hours. So office hours are always going to be held. I will have a Google Meets every day during my office hours. They will always happen around 9:30 for 5th grade and 12:30 for 6th grade. If I have to postpone the meet session, I will let you know in Google Hangouts for that day, or if I know the day before, I will post it in Google Classroom. Otherwise, during those office hours, I will still be checking Google Hangouts and I will be looking for questions through there. But I will always jump on a video call at some point during my office hours to live answer questions and work out problems with you. So during office hours is your time to ask questions about assignments from today or earlier in the week. So you can ask questions about the assignment from the day before too during those times. Make sure you know what questions you have before you jump on the call. That'll make it go quicker and smoother for everybody. You can also ask how to use parts of Google Classroom. This is a great time to ask for help on elements of Google Classroom or Edpuzzle or any other applications that we are using, because I have the ability in Google Meets to share my screen or to have you share your screen so that I can walk you through how to use those different applications. If a call has ended during office hours and you want to get on to ask a question, all you need to do is go in Google Hangouts and I will restart the call and ask me if I can work out a problem. And I will restart that Google Hangout or the Google Meets call to work a problem out with you. Okay, so now let's go over expectations, because a few of us are struggling with following expectations in a couple of these different Google formats. So in Google Hangouts, that's the chat that is always open. So my expectations are to keep the conversations math related. Last week we had a lot of just random talking and a lot of random hangouts. That stops kids from being able to see the math related content because it clutters up the feed with just a bunch of talking or letters or a bunch of other random stuff was going on last week. But we need to keep these conversations math related or content related, so that students can see the answers to the problems that they are looking for or that they are having. Be respectful of your word choices. Think about it. This is just like you're in the classroom. You need to use school appropriate words and you need to be respectful of each other. And be respectful of time. If I don't answer you right away, and even if it's office hours, remember I might be helping somebody through a different platform right then, or I might be working on typing out your answer. So don't just keep asking the same question over and over again. I will answer your question when I have the time. If expectations are not followed in Google Hangouts, you will be removed from the group for an appropriate amount of time, depending on what expectations you are breaking. But I cannot have students who are not following the expectations in the group. So you need to make sure that you follow expectations, and I will warn you if you are not following expectations, and if you do not improve your behavior, you will be removed from the class for an amount of time. Google Meets expectations. So these are the daily meetings that we have during office hours where we get on video chats and I share my screens and work out problems with you. So once again, we need to keep those conversations math related. Yes, we will be able to have some chatting and catching up to do, but we need to keep those towards the beginning and the ends of our Hangouts. So when I say it's time to get to work and time to answer questions, you need to follow those expectations. When I mute you, keep yourself on mute unless you are called on. So remember, you need to raise your hand to be called on to answer or ask a question. Otherwise, the background noise from your house makes it harder for everyone to hear. And we want everybody to be able to hear and understand what I'm saying. Remember, you can also use the chat during this time to answer or ask questions. Be respectful. That means in both your words when you're talking and in the chat, that you need to be respectful of each other, just like in the classroom. Use the chat only to ask and answer questions related to our math or our content area, what we are working on at that moment. The Google Meets will be recorded from now on. So we do now have the ability to record the Google Meets sessions. So think about that when you jump on. These meetings will be recorded and shared in Google Classroom for other students who were not able to jump on during the Google meeting. If expectations are not followed, you will be removed from the call for that day, or longer if you broke the expectations high enough. Then I will be contacting your parents and we will be talking about what your extended removal from the Google Hangouts will be. So let's work together and make this distance learning the best possible experience that it can be. Let's follow these expectations. Let's be those star students from afar, and let's work together to make this be the best learning experience that it can possibly be. I am very proud of the majority of you, how you got through that first trial week. So let's make this first week and this whole experience as awesome as it truly can be.